Prime Proster to the Queen of Ire Spain, was the Reverend, the Sodality Director, that eupeptic vice-slayer, a barefaced Carmelite, to whose palpitating pulpit, which of us but remembers the rare valent and honourable fratto Mr. Nolan Moranbrawn, sinning society sirens, see the Roman Catholic trespassing, fortunately became so enthusiastically attached, and was an objectionable ass, who very occasionally a barefaced Carmelite, to whose palpitating pulpit, which of us but remembers the rare valent and honourable fratto Mr. Nolan Moranbrawn, sinning society sirens, see the Roman Catholic trespassing, fortunately became so enthusiastically attached, and was an objectionable ass, who very occasionally cockaded a rattle ticket on his hat, which he wore all to one side like the handle of his pan. If her elegance saw him, she'd have the canary, and was semi-privately convicted of malpractices with his hot-wash table knife, glossing over the cart in his pocket. That same snob of the dunghill, fully several year-shams riper, encountered by the General on that red-letter morning or May noon Jove's day, and were they? Whit, whit. When Fishling Phil once throws his lip 'tis folly to be fortune-frothy, and whoever's gone to Mick's Hotel by the salt say water, there's next to nothing we can do for his never again to see. It is nebulous and autodidact fact of the commonest that the shape of the average human cloudy fizz, whereas sallow has long days faded, frequently altered its ego with the passing of the showers, not original. Whence it is a slopperish matter, given the wet and low visibility, since in this scapsarad of 1,001 nightinesses, that sword of certainty which would identify the body never falls, to identify the individuum in scratch wigs, square cuts, stock lavalier, regattable oxeter, baggy pants and shufflers, he is often alluded to as Sly Patrick, the clad in the flame, with already an incipience, lust in the direction of area baldness, and is continually first meeting with odd sorts of others at all sorts of ages, who is asked by free board school shirkers in drenched coats over a wall, Will, Con, and Otto, to tell them over a gate, Roll, Hov, and Dev, that fisher-bed goat story of the hardly creditable adventures of the haberdasher, the two Kirches, and the three ankle chums in their bearskin boats. Girls and youngers, he has changed the locks in Torquil's time. Ya da tra gathery pimp, Shesses Shosaphat Okanaboko 9. Those many warts, those slummy patches, half-sinster wrinkles, what has come over the face on Hall Broader E? And Shrine of Monk Moo, save us, the large fungo park he has grown. Drink. Sports, a common thing. It was the Lord's own day for that. To wait for a postponed regattas of eventualizing is not a battlecock, shettled or juxtamare only, and the request for a fully armed explanation was put, in lieu of Pat, to the Porty, a native of the Sister Isle, Meadman or Meccan, by his brogue, X-ray eyes, local colour and local odour, which are said to have been average clown Turkish, though the capitalist voiced nasal liquids, and the way he sneezed at these haul us back to the Krogs and Brins of the Silurian orifices, who, the lesser pilgrimage accomplished, had made hats and pigs older in Celt, the southeast bluffs of the stranger stepshore, a regifugium persecutorum, hence hindquarters, as he paused at even time for some or so minutes, hit a pipe, Danny boy, time to one, barman, I'll take 10 to win, amid the devil's one doldrum, Apple by her blossom window, and Charlotte at her toss panamancy, his sole admirers, his only tarts in store, for a fragrant calabash, during his weekend pastime of executing with Annie Oakley deadliness the consummatory pairs of provocatives, of which remained provokingly but two, the ones he fell for, Lily and Tutu, Corkum, empties, which had not very long before contained Reed's family, you rode that before, Soki, but all the bottles in sodden history will not soften your blood of thirst, stout. Having reprimed his repeater and re-sight-roamed his timepiece, his reverences, with still a life or two to spare for the space of his occupancy of a world at a time, rose to his feet, and there, far from Tolkaheim, in a quiet English garden, commonplace, since known as Whittington Wild, his simple, intensive, purulent vocality, my dear brothers, my most dear brothers, as he, so is a supper as is a sipper, spake of the one, and told of the compassionate, called up before the triad of precocious scare-makers, score-taking, spegulone helpas al malbelulo, mi credas querias asprava, viadote, la visaggio, respondas fraulino, the now to us here mythical habiliments of our Fafar and Arthur of our Doin. Television kills telephony in Brothers Broil. Our eyes demand their turn. Let them be seen. And wolf-bone balefires blaze the trail most, if only that Mary Nothing may burst her biddy buckshee. When they set fire, then she's got to glow, so we may stand some chances of warning to what every surkabacha, Tom or Hum, would like to know. The first Humphrey's latitudinous beaver with puggery behind, calaboose belong, big boss belong, Tangatol. His four-in-hand bow, his elbow surtout, the refaced unmentionables of gingerine hue, the state slate umbrella, his gruff Wolseley-Wellesley with the finger-in knots, and the gauntlet on the hand which in an hour not to him solely evil had struck down the mighty might-have-been Destaire, of whom his nation seemed almost already to be about to have need. Then, stealing asunder within the befitting legomena of the smaller country, probable words possibly said, a few family gleaning, a bit duskish and flavoured with a smile, seeing as how his thoughts consisted chiefly of the cheerio, he aptly sketched for our soon-to-be second parents, so can see, Wybie, the touching scene. The solence of that stilling. Here one might have Finn fell. Boomster rombombonant. It seems like a landscape from Wildo Picturesque, or some seam on some dim arras, dumb as Mum's mutinous. This mimage of the 77th cousin of Christensen is audible to us across the wineless air, no ear nor mere eerie, nor less potent of suggestion than in the tales of the Tingmouth. Freaked. And there, oft after, jaunty jogging, on an Irish vis-a-vis, in steadily with shoulder to shoulder, Jehu will tell to Christiania, saint to sage, the Humphreyad of that fall and rise, while Daisy winks at her pinker sister among the tussocks, and the couple between the shots mocks the couple on the car. And as your who may look like how on the outer side of his big beltry, your tears and clothes, your nose and paradigm, may re-rise in Erin, following up his wit vindicative. Thurston's, lo behold, the Arboro, lo Petrusu, the Augustan, peace be to them oaks, the monolith rising stark from the moonlit pine barren, in all fortitudinous, ejectious, rowdy, noisy tenuacity. The angulous hour with ditches bent upon their farm-used tensiles, the soft belling of the fallow deers, do remus genuane, advertising their milky approach as midnight was striking the hours, letate, and how brightly the great Tribune outed the sharkskin smoke wallet imitation from his frock kippers, and by Joshua he tips on a topping swank cheroot, none of your swellish side, quite the reverse, and how manfully he says, pluck the pluck and lecken for Lucan, he was to just pluggy well suck that brown boy, oh my son, and spend the whole half hour in Havana. Sorer of the creeks, men would not, or be old high goth strogue. Wherefore he met master, he mean to say he do sire best of Red Publicans, at Eaglecock Hostel on Lawrence O'Toole Street, and how he wished his honour the barracks of Gorth and Moria and Brehead and Cleric, your lordship, and the starch box sitting in the pit of his St. Thomas. A strange wish for you, my friend, and it would poleaxe your son's grandson utterly, though your own old sweat and swear floriorants heaved it hoch many as the times, when they were terrified by the heat. Cheers for up King Billy and Crow Cramwell's down-a-woo. Up, boys, and at him. See, I'll beam their lost, we found remembrances. Their hours to date linked these heirs to here. But where are those yours of yesterday's? Far-seeing Getterich, and poor old woman Caractacus, and his Anne Van Vogt. D-E-E-D, ended, or sleeping soundlessly? Favour with your tongues, intendite. Any dog's life you list, you may still hear them at it like 60s and 70s, as ever sure as Halley's Comet, Ulama men, Sobrania women, stalking boys and Duma girls, as they pass its bleak and bronze portal of your Casa Concordia. Guru morni mini fricanz, ur ladies harbide, los doron left ladies più, 1132 scudi, tipoti kiri tipoti, chakai kai makar sahib, dispenseme usted senor, en son succo sabes. Os hobron orm, o hofrega, thinking now keli, likpa fly high papa lisi lang, epi aloe cubatis, tu vauno down petit boing, is men de bumba que meos de Portugali. Os pipos mios es demasiado gruarso por o piccolo pochino. Mi fi, un duro, pochis shabat, mercy on you, domar, tak. And cod, to see with mugger's tears, would you care to know the prize of a liard? Magus, Nichter, Nighty Novel, mass travellers at the mic again, and that bag belly is the buck to goat it. Mageg, chappy fellow, I call our universe to witness as sicker as my livy eggs is known by our good householders from your hundreds of mammoth to be which they commercially are in ahoy high British quarters conventional. My guest house and cow-handled credits will immediately stand open as straight as that neighbouring monument's fabrication before the hygienic ghoul. This was where the Reverend Sabbath and bottle breaker with fur forth stretched touched upon his tricoloured boater, which he uplifted by its pickle hoopy. He gave Stetson 1 and a penny for it, while as oleaginosity of ancestral alosis scotulated down the both tendencies of his Mutsotito lip-tails, Sen Capitulo, a more modestuous conciliadulite, never curled the torn pocket-mouth, cordially inviting the adolescents who he was wise enough to do in like manner what all did, so as he was able to add lobe before the great schoolmasters. I tell you no story. Smile. The house of Atriox is fallen in the dust, ilia milium, merum or murnomets, averging on light like the Monday banks of Feniana, but deeds vows going arise again. Life, he himself said once, his biography in fact kills him very soon, if yet not after, is awake, live it or cricket, and on the bunk of our breadwinning lies the crops of our seed father, a phrase which the establisher of the world by law might preternately write across the chest front of all man or woman born. The scene, refreshed, re-roused, was never to be forgotten. The hen and crusader, ever intermutual murder. For later in the century, one of that puny band of fat ferreters, then an ex-civily out of the custom huts, retired, hurt, under the 65s Act, in a dressy black modern style, and would wear shiny tan Burlingtons, tam hommed and dicky, quote and T-jacked, rehearsed it, disappointing, with a dignified, copied bow to a named cousin of the late Archdeacon F.X. Preserve, Coppindra, a hot fellow in his night, may the mother of guard have mastic on him, in a pull woman of our first trans-Hibernian, with one still sadder circumstance, which is a Dirk and Dirk-Hart skewer, if ever, to bring bouncing brimmers from marbled eyes. Cycloptically, through the window discs and with eddying oars, the round eyes of the run-risers, back-to-back, buck-to-bucker on their airish chaunting car, beheld, with intouristing anti-restedness, the clad pursue the bear, the green, the floor, the clad again, as their convoy wheeled encirculingly around the gigantic's life tree, our fire-leaved, lava-lucky blomster bone, phoenix in our woodlessness, haughty, catechumenal, erubescent repetition, whose roots they be ashes with lustres of pine. For as often as the Archicadenus, fleecing aside his Irish field, and craving their auriculars to receptacle particulars before they got the bump at Castlebar, Matt and Far, spoke of it by request, or, hearing in this new reading of the part whereby, because of Dias and his machina, the new Garrickson's grimacing grimoldism hypothesized by substantuation the axiomatic oral rotundity of that once grand old Elrington ball, the copycutter's description of that fellow commuter's play upon countenance, could simply imagine themselves in their bosom's inmost core as pro tem locums, fine sport to course the yawning abyss, as once they were seasiders, listening to the cockshy shooter's even-song evocation of the doomed, but always ventriloquent agitator, no not more clang or bound the billows, or tone of a hollier reef, silkwack, or walrus, might I add, against the dusk of scumbering, would that fain be St. Wezen's calling, holy places, and this fez, brimless as brow, a faithful toucher of the ground, did wish it were, blessed be the bones, the Ghazi, power of his sword. His manslayer's gun wielder pretended towards that overgrown lead pencil, which was soon, monumentally at least, to rise as Molly de Condelon to be his mausoleum, or Dan stobbed his stain at Micey's eyes could show upon, while all over his exculpatory features as Roland rung, a wee dropleen of grief about to silenize his jujus, the ghost of resignation diffused a spectral appealingness, as a young man's groan or the fate of his waters may gloat, similar in origin and accurate ineffective, to a beam of sunshine upon a coffin plate. Not otherwise, in the days of the beginning, would our traveller, remote, unfriended from Van Diemen's land, some lazy scald or maundering pope, lift weary Willy his slow-cut snob-sick eyes to the semi-signs of his zodiac, and lengthily lingering along flask neck-cracket, cut-down-trodden brogue, tersod, wild broom, cabbage-glad, stockfish, longingly learn that there at the Angel, where urged for him pochine and tea and praties and baccy and wine with women worth warbling, and informally quasi begin to press a smile to queeze it in. Nonsense. There was not very much wind in house blowing at the given moment through the hat of Mr. Melancholy Slow. But in the pragma, what formal cause made a smile of that, to think? Who was he to whom? O'Brien's not his name, nor the brown one his name. Whose are the place words? Kiwasti, Kiska, Kitta, Kittenbodger? Hell the tem of the Tuminum, give the gab of the groom. Be it cudgel player's country, or fish fellow's town, or leak licker's land, or panpanongo povengreske. What regnans raised, the reins have levelled, but we hear the pointers and can gauge their compass, for the mellows yields the mode, and the mode the manners, police him and plants him and plouse him and flab, sin. The forefather focus for a prize of 2 teachers, with Ming, Ching and Shunny on the Lilo Lee. We'll sit down on the hope of the gooey ghost, for the tide man troubleth, but his handy-tat high is not here. They answer from their zones. Hear the 4 of them, hark to roar of them. I, says our ma, and I'm pervert. I, says Clonakilty, God help us. I, says Dean's Grange, and say nothing. I, says Barna, and what about it? Hee-haw! Before he fell hill, he filled heaven. A stream, outlapping streamlet, coily coilum, cool of her curls. We were but termites then, we. Our ant-heap we sensed as a hill of Allen, the barrow for 'em people. One Jotner's yell, and it was a grum along among the pork troop that wonder struck us as a thunder yonder. Thus, the unfacts, did we possess them, are too imprecisely few to warrant our certitude. The evidence given by leg pole too untrustworthy, irreparable, where his adjudgers are seemingly freak 3s, but his judicandees plainly -2s. Nevertheless, Madam's to show us wax is largely more lifelike, entrance 1 kudos, exits 3, and our notional gallery is now completely complacent, an exegious monument airily perennious. Obliged with